Hey guys, so I never thought I would make this video, but I am on my way to a Survivor premiere party. Not because I wouldn't go to a Survivor premiere party, but because the person throwing the party is one of my first best friends at my first firm. We were both big law lawyers together. Here's a clip I found on my phone of us at our first holiday party together. She left to go work in public interest. Now she is on the 45th season of Survivor. Oh my gosh, hello!
Guys.
You say you don't wanna get in trouble, that you don't find the show on me. I don't wanna break your little bubble, but you gotta wake up to reality. 'Cause I can see.
I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know how this journey's gonna go. I don't know how they've edited me. Again, I don't know how they've edited me. But I'm counting on y'all's support along the way.
There's so many ways to be happy. You can do whatever you like. You don't have to be ready. You just gotta trust the right. Don't have to be scary.
Welcome back.
World.
Hey Katurah.
Hi, Cece.
We met each other at orientation and I was like, this girl is so much fun.
I feel like we instantly clicked.
You dropped this bomb on Survivor about you grew up in a cult. First thing I thought of was, wow, you must have had survival instincts and survival mode so much earlier on than just going on literally the show Survivor.
It wasn't until I was about 14 years old when we were leaving the cult and we were running away in the night, primarily so that I could escape being married to the cult leader. He was 68 at the time. Yeah. He was 68-year-old white man. We had been so conditioned in the cult. The focus of women wasn't about like what you like or what you care about or what excites you, or there would never be do anything for love or my heart feels this way. It would be you do it through obligation, which is why when I was 13 and they said you're gonna marry the cult leader, it was kind of like, okay. When we finally left, that's when I re-entered society. And that's when I looked up, coming from this really secluded cultish environment, I can kind of see what's happening in America and the world more generally a little more clear than I think if I had always been there. I had just been on this commune. We were living on 44 acres. There were big walls around. You weren't getting in or getting out. That was my whole life in this little commune. So then to come out and immediately start to understand how the social dynamics were playing out in the world, it was terrifying. Why is this area of town different than that area? And how is it that when I'm over here with a lot of people that look like me, the houses are boarded up and there's no grocery stores and everything feels desolate. But if I drive 10 minutes down the road, things are clean and it's nice and there's this allowance to be free. I'm already picking that up as a 14-year-old.
It actually makes a lot of sense. I first became aware that I was in a world and had to learn rules was when I immigrated to America when I was like 4. Being aware, oh, I have to observe other people and then see how they're acting and then mirror them.
That's survival.
Yes.
Right? What's the norm around me? What do I need to do to be able to just keep getting along and going through and not being the one that people say, what are you doing? Like something's wrong. As fucked up as it is, I was seeing higher ranks because I was the next to be engaged to the cult leader. In the cult, I knew the rules. I knew the expectations. I knew how to get along. I knew what was required to be, dare I even say, a successful member of that society. But now I'm controlling myself in a whole new environment that says, it really doesn't matter who you are or what you do or how many rules you follow. If you have these certain identities, you're in danger. And that's when I was like, oh shit, I'm black and I'm poor and I'm a woman. And I didn't have the gay part down then exactly because my brain still couldn't comprehend even dating, even liking anybody. And I think that's why it took me so long to connect with my queerness. When I finally got out, because first it was just connecting to what does it mean to be an individual whose feelings and thoughts and emotions are valid. That never had happened before. Damn, this was my life.
This building.
God, I don't even remember what floor I was on. Do you remember what floor you were on?
I was on 16 and then like 22.
Ooh, I
And
think I had a
then-
20-something. I used to come here with
the
another
Starbucks?
associate who would always do her mobile orders. And I would just get a venti cup of hot water, literally. Can we get in? We might need a key card because it's closed. There's no security. Oh, no. No. Honestly, I never had my ID anyway. But the joy from going in, pulled an all-nighter, right?
Yeah.
And I'm looking rough the next morning and I'm just rushing in to send off the final whatever and review the whatever. And I'm like, I belong here. Say something. You know, I get a little joy in
Yeah.
being like, I don't look the way you're expecting me to look or what you think should be happening here. And I'm still here and I'm still killing it.
One thing that always made me feel guilty about leaving, once you're in the law firm, you feel like it is almost a duty sometimes to like rise to the top.
Yep.
Help that representation. It makes it like really
Yep.
hard
And
to
because
leave.
there's so little diversity at the top,
Yep.
you're like, oh, I could be the one, right? I could
Yep.
be one of the few
Yeah.
partners of color. Wow.
We used to come out of the back here and then eat here.
I remember this church. And one day we had an excessive amount of food that we were gonna throw away. And I was like, come on, there's gotta be somewhere
Yeah.
that needs this food. And they were like, no, you can't give it, you know. And I'm like, guys, come on, there's gotta be something. We found this church. And then we had a relationship with the people inside.
Oh.
And every time that we have extra food, the partners would let them come and get it. Are you choosing the the one with the pasta sauce?
It's dedication to eating pizza.
I was like, did
Pizza,
somebody
though.
buy
Like
that?
someone-
Because you don't need that much for just one
No.
slice. And it looks like they probably had 2 slices max.
We just tried to go to the lobby of our old law firm and we were locked out,
It did not work. We do not have security cards or access.
which I now feel like is a metaphor for our lives. We're locked out of the law firm.
No, that's not a metaphor for our lives. But maybe, because I will say there's been so many occasions where I was at that damn lobby, did not have my security key card, and it's the people inside
Yeah.
who are like, no, let me help you and, you know, pull you up. It's the representation again, right? Most of our security guards were black, and they would be like, oh my God, we're so happy you're here, like all the time. Oh my God, I had a great relationship with all support staff.
Yeah.
Because most of the support staff was black, and they would like see me and be like, oh my God, like we're so happy for you, congratulations. I had this guy who was the custodian. He would write me a note every single day. They would be like, hey sis, you got this, don't let them stress you out. I still have 30, 40, 50 of them. Someone can see me and understand that
Yeah.
this is a foreign environment and express pride that I'm able to push through.
So I guess going off of that,
Corporate talk. So piggybacking off of that,
what made you want to go do big law?
I had zero plans to get to the path of a civil rights lawyer. When I decided at 14, right, this is right after I left the cult, I looked around, I was able to see the glaringly obvious differences between how people of color were treated versus just how the rest of the community just seemed to thrive, irrespective of the fact that they were like people just minutes away suffering. I just thought to myself, oh, it's just a matter of changing the law. Like all I have to do is change the laws and make sure they include supporting black people, and then we won't have this. Very naive, very young, very 14-year-old, fresh out the cold eyes. But I didn't have a plan. I never met a lawyer. I didn't really know what being a lawyer meant. I didn't know what law schools were. I didn't know what law schools existed. What do you need? It was just like, I'm gonna do it. And so then I just did every step of the way. Well, you gotta finish high school. Well, you gotta go to college. I learned along the way, and big law came into the plan. I went to American University for my first year of law school. We worked so hard to get jobs. The language and the way they talked to us was, you gotta fight. You gotta apply for like 20, 30 law firms a day. It was so rigorous. I remember being like, okay, like this is just the next step, right? Like we gotta apply for all these big law firms. And I would send out these resumes and get nothing.
Aw.
Or get clear rejections.
Yeah.
And then I transferred to Georgetown in the same summer. Like school hadn't started yet. I hadn't been a second-year law student at Georgetown. I just wrote on my resume, accepted to Georgetown, and I think I had gotten accepted to the Journal. I got on the top law review journal, and I just put those 2 things on there.
Boom.
And every single firm that had ignored me or rejected me was like begging for me now.
Yeah.
And I know I'm gonna be able to make a lot of money from it. And honestly, it was being back in that survivor mode again. I told myself when I started law school, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm terrified, and I'm gonna take out all this debt. Can I bet on myself? I promised myself that I'm gonna work so hard and I'm not gonna just end up $200,000 in debt for no reason. And if I can work really hard and have access to pay this debt off and then also do the thing I'm passionate about, that's what I'll do. Simpson was number 6 in the country. And I was like, number 6 law firm in the country, begging for me, great pay, knock off these loans for a little bit. This feels like the right thing to do. But I always knew this was never my goal. And I think the more I was at Simpson and the more I realized the work I'm doing doesn't benefit or help my people at all. And in some instances, I almost felt that it was things that were harmful because we were working with such big companies that had a lot of issues and, you know, it was like, but I'm playing the long game.
You must have got that. You want a survivor?
Oh, yes. What are the odds that happens?
Recognized on the street.
I got
Famous.
recognized. Oh, it's nice and empty. Smells delicious in here. Ooh. Are you hungry at all? So these are stews. I would pick a bowl. Oh, I'm basically picking the pasta.
That you don't find 'cause you got me. I don't wanna break your little bubble, but you gotta wake up to reality. 'Cause I can see in your eyes.
Do you have any kind of like survival tips for working in big law?
The biggest thing in big law is finding connections, right? Finding ways to connect with people, to say, what is it that you're excited about? And how can I also show you that I care about this? Or connect with them on something random that they care about. Like if a partner, or honestly, even a senior associate, really anybody, they had like a photo on their desk, I would make a point to ask them about who it was and then get like a random fact. Like, Kenny is going to ski lessons this Tuesday. And then I bring up Kenny's ski lessons. Because so much of it really is outside the work. I thought if you just do your work, if you're doing really well, people are gonna reward you. You think if I just prepare, right? If I just plan it out, if I just reread all the things for the case in advance and I'm ready for the partner meeting, everything will be okay. And then in reality, it's not necessarily how that works. That's the lesson I got hit with hard in Survivor. Because I thought all I need to do is just make sure I'm good with my swimming, make sure I know how to talk to people. I like went down a bucket list that I was literally just zoned into every single day. And then you get out there and it all goes out the window. It's life, it's people, it's humans. At the end of the day, the human connection and the human experience is what people feel and gravitate to more than, great, you did good work for me on this thing.
You left big law to then work at a very renowned civil rights organization.
While I was at Simpson, I joined another colleague and we co-founded the Civil Rights and Liberties Initiative. We had to go through all the steps and get partner approval. We got a little budget.
Nice.
And I started bringing in civil rights lawyers and speakers who were doing the work that I thought was really valuable and I was passionate about. And they would come and they would speak to this group of, 1%ers who were just like on their phones the whole time. But for me, it was huge because it was a reminder that I'm on the path for something bigger. Like, this isn't my end all be all. I still have this fire burning in me even while I'm here at Simpson. And inviting one of those speakers is how I ended up connecting with my boss at the NAACP Legal Defense Fund.
I love that.
Yeah. I compiled all this data and research that I'd done. And she was so impressed. And she was like, what is this? And I was like, oh, I've actually been working on these issues for years. Here's all the work I've been doing on the side. And I was like, I know you guys would never think about hiring an attorney who's been a corporate lawyer for so long in this civil rights space. And she was like, no, we absolutely would, especially one as dedicated this. And she was like, the skills you're learning from Simpson. And I jumped on it immediately.
A lot of life and survival, etc., is luck. And yes, it is a luck to a very large degree, but you also make your own luck. And I think that's what you did by creating this like civil rights initiative within the auspices of big law. Okay, so now you're at LDF. What were your experiences now kind of like being in your dream job?
I was so nervous because there were so many reasons theoretically to not go to LDF. The biggest one being money. I took a 78% pay cut. 78%. Why do you know the percentage so quickly? Because I calculated it. Because I felt it. I felt it when I left my studio apartment and moved in with roommates. I felt it when I changed all the bills around.
Yeah.
When I had to be that hard, stern voice for my family and say, like, if y'all are struggling with bills, I'm no longer able to help in this manner. There's something bigger here that has to get done. At LDF, I'm walking past Thurgood Marshall's desk daily, touching it, rubbing it as I'm walking by. It reminds you that there were people just like us who looked around the world and said, holy shit, this is injustice or something that's wrong or something that's not acceptable, and I'm gonna be the one to do something about it. That's like the best motivation ever. It was that full circle moment, remembering being that 14-year-old girl just coming out of all of this chaos and being like, I think I wanna be a lawyer for Black people, not knowing what that meant. Fast forward, I'm an attorney at the New York City office for the NAACP Legal Defense Fund.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, how, God, how? And I was doing the work I wanted, and then at a certain point, I think the dream wore off. And I hate that because it was so the pedestal of things.
Yeah.
Like, it was so the monumental. If I could just get there, then everything will be perfect. And it really wasn't. The hours were crazy long. At Simpson, when I'm in Big Law, I had the damn pillow under my desk, but I knew that I would have a pillow. I knew that this is the job. I'm working so late that I'm just gonna sleep under the desk and then wake up in the morning and then get back to work. Like, that was the culture. But I'm thinking I'm going to a nonprofit and it's not gonna be that. And it's Big Law hours and additional intensity.
I respect the people who work day in and day out
Of
with that
course.
emotional tax.
I think the point that I pulled from being at LDF, and it's crazy because I almost didn't realize it until also playing Survivor, is that I'm not a superwoman and I'm just human. And it's so shocking and so simple. It's like, okay, yeah, you didn't know you were a human being, but I remember approaching year 5 of doing this really heavy, emotional, taxing work and feeling very confident that I could just keep going. Because we needed that. That's what we needed. We got 2020 and the whole world looked to LDF to say, what do we do? How do we tackle racial injustice? How do we handle Black people being murdered in the street by their government? And I focused specifically on police violence, which is why I was the attorney that was giving my firm the first information about George Floyd as it happened. Watching that video, right? Watching all of these videos. Then I was doing a lot of the work around COVID response. I'm collecting all the data on how hundreds of thousands of Black people specifically are dying from COVID all the time. And it was just like, you're reminded that you're in this really dangerous space. Like, you're reminded that walking down the street is literally danger. Like, it's alert, alert, alert. And you've got that alert on and you never get to take it off. Your body is taking it in. Like, there's some level of you that's taking it in and you must give yourself breaks. And then I, like an idiot, thought Survivor would be a great break. I literally have old colleagues from LDF texting me like, this was your break as they're watching Survivor, like, are you insane? And I'm like, I realized that was not an ideal break. Survivor is literally just more Survivor mode. And that's how messed up my thinking was at the time. I had been so used to being in go mode. You're the superhuman. You can always do more. You can always take on more. And in reality, like, I don't want a world where I have to be that superhuman. Yeah, and I don't want anybody else to be feeling like they're the superhuman. We should all be collectively
helping each other.
Supporting each other and helping each other. Yeah.
Now that you're done with Survivor, what's next? Like, how do you balance this wanting to take care of yourself with wanting to take care of others? Because I think oftentimes it feels mutually exclusive.
I think my biggest thing was first just take a break from like structural work. So I'm not like at an office where someone is saying this needs to get done and then I have to stop everything to do it. Giving myself that little bit of time now to enjoy the season of Survivor, like accept that I'm on Survivor, you know, first time in my life. Like, I want to enjoy that. And so I gave myself permission to not work during the season while it's airing. And then on Survivor, something really crazy happened. My body broke and my spirit broke. And I had my first panic attack in my life, my whole life. I've never had a panic attack. It happened on Survivor. I didn't expect to get randomly triggered, but then suddenly I got a letter from a no contact parent and I'm talking about this. I shared some really vulnerable parts of myself in a way that I didn't even expect. And I'm looking back being like, damn it, I didn't want people to know that. That was supposed to be hidden. But then I started to see that the more of me I shared, people were resonating with that.
You know, I started YouTube and content creation purely by accident. And part of it was this feeling that why share anything? And I think especially Chinese immigrants, they're always like, don't talk, don't say anything, don't step out of line.
And even when you're just at Chinese families will be like, keep it under wraps or whatever. I felt that so deeply because it was what happens at home stays at home.
Exactly.
What goes on in our family, nobody knows. I was terrified saying I was in a cult at 14.
I'm
I
sure.
was terrified saying it. Like my hands were shaking. The like mic guy was looking at me and they were like, from a young age, I remember just being conditioned to be like how I present to the world is different than what I'm really feeling. And that's just the thing we do.
It's a survival tactic.
It's survival. It is. And I'm over it. I want to be authentic. I want honesty. I want humans to connect with humans on a real level. We will see where it goes. I'm giving myself permission to bet on me again and just bet on running with something I'm passionate about.
I will be linking to Katurah's YouTube channel and all her other socials below. Please go follow her as she embarks on this next stage of her life. And now I'm going to get the real tea on the spoilers. So we're going to talk later.